Well guys, it's about 8:45 in the morning and temperature's a couple degrees above freezing. I'm out here at the secret pond is what I call it. My little tucked away pond I like to go fishing at. This is my stealth fishing, excuse me. Already done stealth camping. And I just want to take you guys along for the ride. It's a lot of fun coming out here. This pond's sort of a feral pond. It drains the surrounding, in that direction there's like a shopping center kind of thing. And it drains the parking lots. So I wouldn't say it's probably safe to eat the fish. They're not mine to eat anyway. But yeah, it's just sort of abandoned. Nobody uses it, so I like to just kind of sneak in here and catch a few fish, have a good time. So that's what we're going to do today, and I'm going to bring you guys along. So hopefully we'll actually catch some fish too. It is pretty cold though, and it's mostly bass and little sunfish, so you know the chances of catching many fish are not very good, but at least we're out here fishing, having a good time. So let's get out of this truck and take a little walk. Alright, we are marching along to our destination. Got to cross a little field here. This is the point at which I'm exposed, so I try to make the walk quickly. I'm not really sure what kind of trouble I could get in for being here. I don't think much. I generally feel like this area is kind of the pond that time forgot. Nobody's really caring much about it anymore. But it wouldn't be stealth fishing if we weren't trying to be sneaky, would it? So, alright, we made it across the field. If you can see the field there. That was a quick pan shot, it probably didn't show up very good. Anywho, coming up to a creek that feeds the pond, or rather the pond drains into. Again, I think the pond is all fed by drainage from these parking lots. So let me switch the camera around and show you the little creek here. Okay. There you go. Nice little creek. It's fairly low right now, so the water's moderately clear. I wouldn't call it clear, not by a long stretch, but you can see that it's pretty low. And it's chilly out here. Okay. I'll cut back when I'm at the pond. Okay, so not quite at the pond yet, but the creek kind of tucks around. The creek is still down there and to the left. Curves around, and the pond is actually on our right. But I just like this little abandoned road here. It's very scenic. Oh man, my fingers are cold. Oh, I don't know if that caught on camera. A whitetail just frolicked off into the brush. I doubt that that'll show up on my non-HD camera, but that was cool. I think I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque. Hold up. Yeah. Whoops. I'm going around to the back side of the pond. Okay guys, I'll cut back when I actually get to the fishable area of the pond. Okay, just around this corner, the pond should come into view. Whoa, that's a hole. In all its glory. The secret pond. Unfortunately, some litter washes in here. Kind of ruins the beauty. I try not to let it get to me, but it really hurts what could be a very scenic place. Here be the pond. Still a lot of frost on the shady areas here. Walking along, walking along. Okay, this is a spot right here where I like to set up. So you can see, here's the pond. I used Google Maps and kind of measured and estimated, and I think it's about 3.5 acres. It's fairly featureless on the bottom, except right over there is a little island. Caught a few bass around that island, so I'll be checking that out. But for now, I'm gonna rig up and we're gonna get fishing. Alright guys, this is what I'm gonna be tying on this morning. A little spinner bait. Oops. There you go. Let's a good look at it. I found that you can vary the speed with them, you know, and you can get through weeds pretty well. There's a lot of weeds around here. And I've caught bass here before with them, so that's my trusty lure for this area. And it's easy to use, you know. It doesn't take a lot of skill to use a spinnerbait compared to, say, jigging or using a worm or something like that. So that's my choice for today. We're gonna have a few casts around this little point here and see what happens. Well, I managed to hook into about a 1-pound bass after about maybe 10-15 minutes of casting. And I played it for about 15 seconds. I'm using 6-pound line here on this reel. I'll show you. So I can't just horse them in. Anyway, I played it for about 15 seconds. Then I decided to catch and release without all the hassle of that catch part. Yeah. So anyway, that's a bit of a bummer to get that close, not get one. But it tells me that, you know, there's a little bit of activity today. They're pretty slow, probably because of the cold. But as the sun warms the surface water, it should heat up a bit and maybe get those fish going a little bit. So I'm not going to give up. I'm going to move around to another area that I haven't fished yet, and we're going to continue stealth fishing. Hey guys, decided to change tactics a little bit. And by change tactics, I mean go have some tea. Because I think that the water's just too cool right now and they need a little more time for the surface to heat up. So I'm going to head off into some bushes and make some tea, which always helps on these cold mornings. So I will see you there. Okay guys, the area I want to go have tea is across this bridge, if you will. So I somehow have to make it across. Pretty scary. I'm reminded of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Yeah, it's like a microcosm of that. So wish me luck. should go get the camera. Alright. Should not have worn boots. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little evil. Yes. Hey guys. I can hear something moving in the bushes here. I do not know what it is. But I'm going to leave it alone because I'm not here to disturb unless you're a fish. So we will have our little fire down by the beach. Oh yeah. This looks like a good spot. All kinds of tracks here. Coons and deer coming down for a slurp. Yeah, I don't think I'm likely to set a fire here. A forest fire, that is. Okay. Alright, well, let's try to make a fire. Fire, fire, fire. Oh god, I'm screwing it up. No. I think this is, yeah, it's slightly moist. Okay, well that's useless. No. This grass sucks. Here's a tip. Bring a lighter or some matches. I was trying to force myself, like I said, you know, to get the hang of this, but now I just want some freaking tea. Yes. Fire, 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 fire. No. No, I blew it out, didn't I? Go! 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 Well, part of me wants to edit this out, forget this ever happened. But I might just leave it in, just as a lesson can learn from me that just because under other conditions a cool, primitive kind of fire making style has worked for you does not mean it will always work. In the past, when I used this, I had cedars around. They're actually junipers, but eastern red cedar is what they're called. And I could take scrapings from the bark, and it worked really, really well to get a fire going. I didn't realize how important that was. I had a grass bundle, and then I had the cedar scrapings inside that. Well, apparently, that was a big deal, and that was like the major part of my success, because grass alone is just not working. It's not taking. I did get a little flame, but it was just so brief. I didn't have time to get anything started. And all of this is dry, actually. It's quite dry. It hasn't rained in a couple weeks. So I can only imagine how difficult this would be if this stuff was wet. So if you really, really want to fire, don't just depend on your primitive method. And also, learn from your successes and do what you did to make yourself successful. There's no cedars around here, so there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to get back to fishing. No tea for me. Kind of sad. But yeah, I think I'll leave this in as a lesson to everybody else that fire is not easy. Bring matches. Hey guys, so I'm back on the other side of the pond where I showed you where that island is, and I'm going to try over here. I've seen a few fish hit the surface, a very few, but still it's something, a little bit of activity, and we'll see what happens. Well guys, fish beat me today. I did not land any. I had the one hook up earlier with a bit of a fight, and then just out here by the island I had one on for just a couple seconds. Never really got it hooked. So that's part of the game though. If you fish, you will have days like this. And I knew, you know, with it being so cold, that it was unlikely I would get anything. But that's not really what fishing is about. People that think fishing is boring, there's probably a couple things going on there. One, if they're not catching stuff, then they're bored, because their whole goal being out there, their mindset was they're going to catch. But to really enjoy fishing, you got to be out there just to enjoy being outside. And the pursuit of the fish is just a little extra, you know. And another thing is when people go fishing on docks or out on a boat or something like that, and sometimes you can miss the ambiance that fishing can offer. I think places like this, these little tucked away forgotten ponds, is where you remember kind of why fishing is so great. You know, what's pleasurable about it. It's about getting out away from people. That's at least where I find enjoyment in fishing. And that's why I don't like to go to some of the more popular places or go out on a boat in a lake where there's skiers and stuff. That's just not the appeal that fishing has for me. So I encourage you guys to give it a try. Find a little pond that, you know, has just kind of gone wild, and just sort of sneak on and you know, leave no trace. Have a good time, catch some fish, throw them back, and just have fun. Fishing's fun, you know? Get out there and make some memories. Well guys, I thought I'd said my farewell to you, but I thought, let's film the exit here. YouTube sent me a message the other day. Whoa, almost beefed it there. YouTube sent me a message saying that I can now post videos longer than 15 minutes. Holy cow. The sun is backlighting me. Sorry about that. Let me turn and head up over here. So I don't have to worry about being incredibly concise with my videos. That's probably going to annoy some people, but you know, I'm not doing YouTube for profit or anything like that. I'm just doing it to have a good time. And so yeah, I'll just film the walk out here. I do try to be stealthy as I exit. Talking to this camera obviously isn't helping that cause, but you know, I wait till I think nobody's around when I cross that little field, and then I just shoot across to the truck, get on out of here. I tend to think nobody really cares that I'm here, but I don't really want to know one way or the other. Or maybe I'll turn this camera around and give you some footage. It really is a scenic little area. Okay. So, let's talk about stealth fishing while we're walking out of here. In my gear video, stealth fishing gear video, I think I mentioned, you know, how I find places, but I'll go over it again. I use Google Maps and look around for ponds, and then I just drive to the area and check it out. And I also check online on forums and stuff like that. You'll find whatever state you're in, there's local fishing forums. I check Texas fishing forums. It's a really huge forum. And check the area, and sometimes you'll see people say, you know, make some comments about certain little feral pond that they found that they like. So that's a good way to find areas and find out, you know, if an area has fish. Just because you find a pond you can go to doesn't mean there's fish there. So that works pretty well. And then one thing I forgot to do today was show you how I find the features in the bottom of the pond. It's basically, I use a float. It's called a marker rod setup. If you Google that, you can find out how it works. But you use a float and then a weight on the end of the line, and the float will slide along the line. And you cast it out, and you reel the float down tight to the bottom, and then you just measure out 1 foot at a time of line, and you cast that in a bunch of spots, and you essentially map the depth of each area. It's pretty effective, and I think very common in Europe. In the US, we use boats with depth finders most of the time to map features, but when you're bank fishing, you have to be a little more creative. Okay, so we are emerging from the woods. That direction is our egress. There's the truck over there. And here we go. Looks like there's really nobody around, as per usual. And flip it around. Alright. Well guys, I appreciate you coming along on the trip. It's always good to get out, enjoy the little natural islands that are dotted around our urban areas. It's preferable to get out to a truly wild area, but that's just not possible for most of us, not with any frequency. So we have to look for little areas like this. And it's a shame they're becoming fewer and fewer. All these box stores come in and take over. But if you look, you can find these little hidden gems. And they are fun. I just love knowing I'm in the middle of a city, yet I'm in the woods. I'm having a good time fishing at a little pond with nobody else around. So, once again, thanks for coming on the journey. And go Go fishing. Whoa, I almost beefed it again. Apparently walking and talking is not a skill that I possess. All right. There's a truck. Looks like we've made it. We have successfully been stealthy.